time.
Sure.
Where are you located? Louisiana?
Yeah, I'm in New Orleans.
Okay, that's cool. And I
Yeah.
rumor is that you're the first female black belt in New Orleans. Is that right?
Yeah, that is true.
That's that's that's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
in the state. It is, yeah.
Awesome.
And are you in Chicago?
Uh, Close. I'm in Milwaukee, so not too far from Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's freezing cold here, so
It is like 60 here, which for New Orleans is freezing cold, so.
I don't feel
Cold and
bad.
rainy day.
I don't feel bad for you, but
Yeah.
but thank you. I'm very interested in hearing your story. My understanding is without I'll let you tell the story, but you had a couple strokes sometime in June, and so this was right now we're in almost November, so that was 5 months ago.
Um, yes, first time I went to the hospital was May 24th. I actually wrote down my time of all the things because my memory is still a little wonky.
Yeah.
Not remember where I put that book. It's around here somewhere. Um, yeah, I. So I went. Do you want me to just start from the beginning of this crazy adventure?
I yeah, and I'm guessing I probably from all the stories that I've heard so far, I'm just gonna guess that I could probably tell your story for you and it would be pretty accurate, but I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go first.
Yeah. So May 24th. Last time I trained before that was May 20th, and my friend Lisa, who I trained with, said we did do chokes, but I don't remember. And then that Friday, I had a late start for work. I'm a teacher at conferences. I went for a run in the morning and came home. Friends stopped by, and then I was getting ready to hop in the shower. I gave my left eye a good rub, and I was seeing double. And I thought this is the worst migraine of my life. Hopefully, called a good friend who's an ER nurse. She's like, give migraines medication in 30 more minutes. If that doesn't do anything, take motion sickness medicine. If you don't feel anything like improve in an hour, go to urgent care. So I called my friend at work. I was like, I'm seeing double. I need you to pick me up, and this is what we got to do. So he did, and I called my bosses, and I'm stubborn. I went to work, and my vice principal came in with our social worker, and it's like, you're slurring, the face is drooping. You're going to urgent things. Bring Meyer taking you to urgent care. I was like, okay, clearly I don't have a choice, and then I really started to kind of lose my mind. I was like desperately trying to hold on to reality. So we left to go to urgent care. Of course, a block away, got a flat tire, so that I got a lift to urgent care. And once they got me in the room, it was pretty quick. They were like, "You need to go to the hospital." Took me to the hospital. The ambulance came and all that, and asking me questions like what year it was. And in my head, I knew what year, but what came out of my mouth was 1998. And then I was like, no, yeah. I couldn't stop it. And I was like, I know it's not 1988. I know it's not, and it's like, I could not get 2019 to come out. And they're like, who's president? Who the president was, but Clinton is what came out of my mouth. I'm like, I know it's not Clinton. I know it's not Clinton. And I'm like, oh, it's Trump, And then in my head, I was like, well, that's that. I just screwed up two really easy questions. Something is very wrong. And man, stroke was not on my radar. Not on my radar at all. Anything but. Like, I thought it was vertigo or whatever. And so they got me in there, CAT scan, and they came back and was like, you've had a stroke. You've actually had three. And I was like, oh, And so I was in the hospital that time for 4 days. The neurologist, eventually came. I don't remember at what point. Asked me a bunch of questions. Obviously, talked about jiu-jitsu. He asked me what I was doing the day before, and he, who is no longer my neurologist, thank God, he was pretty convinced that I did it the day before lifting weights, and his theory is a combination of like over 20 years of severe neck trauma, a possible genetic disorder, and bad luck. And that's his theory. So put me on a bunch of medications. Got out of there the fourth day. Did a bunch of scans, and then 2 weeks later, I had another stroke. My fourth, yeah. So I went back into the hospital in June for 3 days. Changed my medicine, a lot of the same scans and stuff. Changed my medicine to Eliquis, and went for a 1 month checkup. And then he's like, "No more neck trauma, neck trauma, neck trauma." He was all about neck trauma. And so I went, first checkup, and then second checkup. He just said some things. I'm like, I don't feel good about that. And one of our other, so I got in with this doctor, and one of our other black belts just happens to know he's a neurosurgeon. And this woman is like the red belt of stroke doctor, the neurologist, So he got me in with her a couple weeks ago, and she didn't really say a cause yet. She wants to have me do this TEE Friday, which should have been done in the hospital both times. Definitely should not be on medication like the other guy said. And she really didn't say much about the cause. She's waiting for this other test to be done. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I have some residual effects from the fourth stroke. My vision's impaired. I'm on disability. I'm supposed to go back to work next week part-time for 2 weeks, see how that goes, and then hopefully back to normal life. Short-term memory has gotten a lot better. I mean, everything is getting better. Everything is getting better for sure. But when I tried to go back to work in July, first 2 days, it's just people talking at us. You just zone out and pass notes to your friend. And day 3, when we had to do real work, my brain just shut down. It was like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty probably the most defeated I've ever felt in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not my favorite moment, but luckily I'm surrounded by incredible people who are less stubborn than I, and spoke up for me out of concern.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can't imagine where had that would have gone. And I'm just grateful for so many things. So, depending on what this TEE says, will dictate my possibly very new care plan. So I guess that's kind of where I'm at. I've been to the gym 3 times since. Very recently, a couple weeks ago, my friend Tara and I went to the gym when there was no one else there, and we could leave all the lights off, and I could do pre-K jiu-jitsu just to feel it out, And then I went to a class Sunday, and I could do very little. There was a lot of stuff with pressure on the back of the neck and takedowns with a lot of flips, and it makes I can only do so many flips right now. It makes me dizzy, and the lighting is crap in the gym. All the fluorescent lights, and then I went and watched class last night, and I'm gonna try to go tonight and just do what I can do, and wait and see what this test says, and then take it from there. Um, Nobody's gonna touch my neck for a long time. Um,
Yeah.
so I guess that's kind of where I'm at. I did physical therapy because my balance was kind of off. And all the other therapies I've done on my own, just a lot of research, brain games,
Yeah.
occupational therapy, vision. Um, it's my field of visions that is messed up. And I was already kind of sensitive to lights before. Now it's just a little bit worse. So I guess it's kind of where I'm at.
So this was this was May of 2019, and
Uh-huh.
what year did you start jiu-jitsu?
1998.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And when okay, so the doctor thinks that he the first neurologist is chalking it up to weightlifting is what caused it. You don't recall any like prior to 1 week or 2 weeks or 2 days, or you don't recall like any type of like hard choke manipulations that kind of sent you loopy for a minute, or you felt something that you didn't normally feel or anything like that.
Um, no, like I said, the Monday before we did choked. I don't recall feeling anything. I mean, there's definitely times because I've thought about it so much where I like, oh, like was my vision kind of messed up for like a couple seconds, and I'm like, I'll never remember all the details, but I've definitely. I mean, I've been choked a lot. I've definitely been like, "Oh, that was a good choke before," But like from Monday, like that class, I couldn't even tell you what choke we were doing. There's a lot I don't remember, but that doctor is like convinced that getting choked for 20 plus years is contributing. And I guess we gotta wait and see what those other tests.
Well, I mean,
Um,
so did they say it was a dissection?
yeah, vertebral artery dissection.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, it it would only make sense when you step back and you think about all this. It would
Yeah.
only make sense that the arteries could potentially get a small tear, and then like the doctor said, years of getting choked. But um, from the perspective of uh, why is it happening now versus 10 years. How old are you now?
I'm almost 38. Then I started when I was 17.
So the the medical analysis that Josh and I have read so far about the dissections says that
Hmm.
the average age of the dissections is about 37, 38 years old. Um, Josh had his when he was 37. I had mine when I was 39. So the spreadsheet that we have right here, let me just rattle these off to you. This we've been doing this study obviously, and
Yeah.
we're looking for the average age is of people who have been dissected. It's 37 or 36 and a half. So 37, 39, 32, 38, 31, 35, 53, 32, 42, 49, 38, 23, 31, 38, 37, 45, 40, 34, 39, 44, 47, 25, 29, 42, 34, 39, 32, 42, 48, 18, 39.
Jesus.
Yeah, that was um, Ronaldo Silva in Brazil.
Wow.
So his was He's that his was recent, probably the same time as yours, and he was in
Wow.
Jiu-Jitsu Times. There's an article, Ronaldo Silva, and he 18-year-old purple belt Abu Dhabi champion, and he was doing pull-ups uh,
Uh-huh.
with a gi, and your head is uh, back. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he literally fell off the bar and was paralyzed. And I've been watching him, and this poor kid. The crazy thing is, I mean, you want to talk about like, you know how you feel like the world is taken from you when after you have a stroke in jiu-jitsu and the world is coming to an end. That's how we all feel. Uh, so you're not alone in that. Good news is there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but so we're seeing. But Ronaldo is seriously every time you can see him on Instagram because you can watch the channel that they have. It's called Dream. Let me see what it's called on Instagram. It's Dream Dream dot art dot project. Dream Art Project.
Okay.
It's like this group of people in Brazil. It's there's an investor who like invests in these young kids, and they all live together, learn English, train for competitions. Like it's a big family. It's pretty cool. Like I watch, but you watch Ronaldo, and he's literally rolling with half his body. Like still, like there's limited movement in half his body. And this is an Abu Dhabi purple belt champion, but he's got the biggest smile on his face, like he thinks it's funny, and it's very inspiring to be honest with you. To have
Yeah.
that attitude. Um, but we're seeing that it's happening. His they don't know what happened, but I'm gonna guess that he had some type of dissection. It was probably from just getting absolutely hammered. Jiu-jitsu forums are saying they all are, oh, steroids, 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 but
Uh,
we you know I don't think the kid's on steroids. I don't know, obviously, um,
right.
but most of the people in our group that we've seen so far, they don't look like they're on steroids, and what happened to him, I think, was probably a tear, and he probably had a little clot. And when he was doing the pull up and the neck manipulation, it probably shot the clot. And it's not just jujitsu. It's this could come from. I see people in yoga. I'm in a group. I don't know if you're in any of the Facebook groups. Young
Mm,
stroke survivors or dissection. And I'll send you the Facebook group. I forgot to send you
yeah.
our Facebook group. But there's all these groups, and if you look at these and you follow them, a lot of the dissections are coming from younger people. In the forums, it's mostly females. So
Good.
I don't know if that's just a matter of, though, females and males are different when it comes to like talking about stuff online. You know what I mean? Uh, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So, but it's I think that we've got like over 80 cases. Obviously, we are at greater risk in jiu-jitsu. It's not something that anybody's ever really known about. And do I think that there's ways that we can all continue to play jiu-jitsu um, without having another stroke? I think so. I mean, like you said, like I'm not letting people really close to my neck, but even in training, like I've just started, when they're doing like chokes on each other, like my guys are like kind of going through the motion without giving me full any type of pull. And I'm kind of cool with that. Back drills and stuff like that, I've gotten really good at my defenses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I go two hands on the choke hand, and I hold the person's fingers like this with one hand, and then the
Uh-huh.
other hand's on the wrist, so that
Uh-huh.
they can't grip that lapel. Um, I'm not a
Do
big
you let people
what's that?
like took you?
Say it again.
Do you let people?
Attack.
touch your neck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I have
If
a
I
big
have a okay.
I have a big stint in the side of my neck too.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit worried of that because I don't want that to get broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the good for me, the good has outweighed the bad. You know what I mean? And we can pick and choose who we roll with. You know what I mean? Like we
Correct.
don't always have to go with the most aggressive competitor in the gym just to give them a good roll or to give ourselves like we don't need to. And then there's a guy in my gym named Hank. His nickname is Hank the Crank. And
Oh
Hank,
Lord.
yeah, he's an old school. He's an old school wrestler, jiu-jitsu, like old school guy. He's 40. He's 41. I'm 41 too. So I guess, but he's really old school. He's like 15 years in. So
Yeah.
he's really good at cranks. He's really good at like fancy neck. And when you try to like roll into him and turtle up, like he just automatically gets your neck. He's really good at that. And we roll
Yeah.
hard with each other. But every time I make that turn and he gets underneath, he doesn't tap me. He doesn't he doesn't crank or anything like that because he's totally aware.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I went to Gustavo Dantas's in Arizona just recently. Rolled with new
Oh.
people. Just let them know like, yo, I can't. I have a don't go for anything crazy on my neck. That's all I said. I'm like everything's business
Yeah.
as usual. Just don't go for some like crazy head thing that's gonna catch me by surprise, like a loop choke or something.
Yeah.
Uh, uh,
Yeah.
and so far, I've been
Well,
2 years out. I still have PTSD when I'm on the mats. I'm not going to tell you there's a ton of anxiety. I'm not going to tell you that you're scared that you're going to die. Because, yeah, I do. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think this is,
yeah.
it's just, these are some of these obstacles that just, again, life throws at you. And,
Oh,
I think jujitsu keeps us, healthy and strong and mentally and physically. And now we just have to be aware of the fact that we do have some limitations, and um,
yeah.
things aren't going to be the same as they used to be. But to be honest with you, I don't think things should be the same as they used to be for almost anybody. I think people need to be more aware of what they're doing to their training partners' necks. Um, and
Um,
and people need to be more aware of what could potentially happen. If they, how many times did you let somebody put on a choke? Ah, no, do it a little bit tighter. No, do it a little bit tighter. No. You gotta, we there's just
yeah.
little room for error now, and I think that's just recognizing those signs. I just did a conference with Ryan from Kama BJJ. He's got a big following, and he was one of the coaches that reached out and said, I'm very interested in hearing about what's going on. I want to prevent this to my students. And it sounds like, Carolyn, you're going through the recovery process, but it seems like you're obviously there's some residual effects, but you're alive. You're still with us. You're still walking. Uh, you
I'm
know,
lucky,
yeah,
grateful, and lucky, and I know how much worse it could have been. So there's only one way to go, and that's forward.
yeah,
And
right,
there's only one attitude to have, and that's just gratitude, man.
yeah,
It could be so much worse.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it changes the path. It does change our path a little bit, but sometimes maybe the path needed to be changed for a reason. You know what I mean? Um,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. Like life's one of life's weird ways of maybe putting some things into perspective, but how you're living, just everything, and makes you look at things a bit differently,
yeah, for sure.
you know.
I have a couple more questions. And then fire away if you have any questions that I can answer. But you said that day you said you don't remember any chokes. You don't remember the chokes that you were doing. So you were doing chokes in class, or you don't remember.
One of my training partners, when we were talking later, um, said that we were doing chokes that Monday when we trained. I can wait. She might remember what chokes we were doing, but I don't. Like I don't remember anything from class that night that
Stood out.
stands out. I
Yeah.
couldn't even. Yeah, I can't even remember what moves we trained. You
Well,
know.
that's kind of that. Yeah, that's kind of odd. That but yeah, I mean your memory. But when did your memory kind of start? Like after that night, that Monday, were you feeling okay, or after that Monday is when you started having the double vision?
It was the Friday morning I started having the double vision. Like I felt fine. I went about my week as normal. You know, like I said, that Friday morning I went for a little jog, and then I got back home, and then that's when I had the stroke happened. I guess or the clot moved, and that's when the crazy began. But I don't remember feeling bad or anything the previous days. Um, but there's a lot I don't remember.
Yeah,
I'm still being told, you know, that was said or that happened or whatever. It's still coming back
yeah,
from
right, yeah,
outside sources, and then somebody will say something and I'll be like, oh yeah, 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 it'll like trigger a memory, but I don't remember feeling bad or anything. And just, I don't know. I mean, we chose the crap out of each other because that's what we do. But like, there wasn't anything out of the that stuck up. You know.
yeah.
Um.
Have things? What has anything changed in your gym as far as people being more conscious or aware of? Have people come to terms with what happened? Are they still in denial?
Um. So the people that I'm close to, they're because I've been training with a good bit of these guys from, and we have a very tight family. Um. Uh. They're kind of, with the exception of like a few of them who are doctors, they like were surprised that this is happening and that this is where it came from. And honestly, I'm not sure what, if anything, is being said in classes because I haven't
Yeah,
um, until recently, and I don't know. I'm the kind of person like I know you. I always am a private person, but I don't. I'm so tired of like explaining myself to every single. You know what I mean? I
I
know it
do.
kind of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's like I don't know. I I don't want to. I kind of like almost don't want to be like not labeled. But I don't know. It's hard to explain. I don't do that. Oh, the
it
girl,
it ma-
she had a bunch of strokes.
it makes sense. Like you kind of want to just process and not you still have to process with coming to terms with what's going on, let alone have to explain it to somebody else, and it's kind of just like
Yeah.
you know what I mean. No, I
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Like if somebody, like white belt, not no offense to white belts who are all there ones, or any other not inexperienced but less experienced person, it's like sorry, not sorry, I'm not pulling with you, man.
yeah,
Just gotta be careful.
yeah,
Like I don't. If we might be like, I had 4 strokes,
yeah,
crazy white belts. There's one's time too. So I don't know. I kind of just want to. I was joking Sunday when I went with my friend Tara. Like, I wish I could appear to be someone else when I go in the gym. Like, I could put on like my Harry Potter cloak of invisibility, or
yeah,
have get like a purple belt and look like a dude or something, and not be me, so I can just go and I can do it. And, you know, just be a regular person there, just there to train. But I think it's important, and when I'm back in there, I will speak about it, and when I was teaching it, I'd always run people to be real careful with any submissions, especially chokes, um, and to know when to tap. Also, I think is really important. So it kind of was things in the, when I do girls and keys events and we do submissions because we have a lot of new people at those events. Always talk about safety, 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 safety. So
Yeah, I mean, I
we're
think
back in everything.
you're definitely a voice, that with 20 years experience on the mat and being influential in the community, especially in the females. They're gonna listen to you, and I don't know if you just heard on, like I sent you that link. Joe Rogan was talking to Brian Grazer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his daughter Sage, same thing. She's in our group. You'll meet her, and um, it's not just happening to guy. Like everybody thinks stroke, they think, oh, it must be some 40-year-old, 50-year-old, somebody with blood clots in his arteries from high cholesterol, but it's not. It's females, it's competitors, it's regular, like the gentleman I was talking to yesterday about it. I wasn't. It was a telephone call. He was a black
Uh-huh.
belt, and I'm like, he's like, can we just assume that this is happening to guys in their 40s and 50s who are probably, have? I'm like, no. I'm like, let me ask you a question. How long have you been doing jiu-jitsu for? He goes, he's over 10 years. He was a Salo Ribeiro black belt. He was like 46 years old. I'm like, I bet you have a 40. I bet you have a 34-inch waist. He's like, no, actually, I have a 32-inch waist. I'm like, exactly. I'm like, I bet you when you go to the doctor, you have your numbers are perfect. Your cholesterol, you don't have high blood pressure. It's like, that's right. I'm like, that's what these 40-year-olds that's happening to. That's the same with them. I'm like, it's so
Yep.
it's not, you can't just assume that everybody's on steroids or really unhealthy with family genes, because that's not what our data is telling us. So
Yeah.
it's going to be important moving forward, and I appreciate you telling us your story, because it's going to be important, especially in your community, getting the posters up on the wall, like this stuff. For you, it could have been worse if you didn't have stubborn people making you go to the doctor. I mean, you had all the signs, and you were completely blowing it off, and that's what.
Yeah. 'Cause I just didn't know. Like, I did not know.
Yeah, I
And,
know.
and that is something that's what probably horrified me the most. Like, I'm a physical education and health teacher. I've been doing this for over 20 years. How have I never heard of this? I know way more than the average person, more than the average jiu-jitsu person. Like, how did I not know about this?
It's crazy, right?
It's crazy.
So
Yeah, it's crazy.
that's where we can, when we can educate the public, they are going to be able to find the signs, so that if they say that to help somebody with a stroke, it's not you yourself knowing the signs of the stroke, it's you seeing the signs on somebody else and then getting them to the help, because it could have been worse for you if they would have never taken you in. And and
Right.
and from a jiu-jitsu standpoint, it's after we roll on the mats, it's making sure that somebody who's not right, 9 times out of 10 so far, our data tells us that that person is going to try to go home and sleep it off, and they're going to say they're dehydrated, and they're just off, and they have some vertigo, and that's the worst thing that you can do. So the education is going to be key. And as far as us as survivors, who are going to have such a big part of jiu-jitsu in our lives. I mean, 20 years on the mat, I mean, that's just insane. It's you probably don't know life without it, and you probably don't even want you probably don't even want to know what you won't remember what life was without it. So, but
Yeah.
you're still young, you still got a lot of time to go,
Yeah.
and I'm confident you'll be back on the mats. The first 6 months are really challenging, because it is getting back. Like, you have to get reacclimated with life. Like, it's crazy. Like, I try to explain to people, I'm like, right after my stroke, I tried to jump right back into the normal routines, and it was an absolute shit show. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
like I used to go to like I used to go to this like restaurant, and after I train, I would go to the restaurant and I would get my food and I would sit there for 2 hours and work on my blogs or my administration, whatever I had to do. I just love to work late after practice. And once I got out of the hospital, and the first day I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back to work. I said to myself, I'm like, so I went. I didn't train that day or anything, but I went to the gym, and then I was going to go do my normal routine, which is go to that restaurant. And long story short, it was the most anxiety I ever had. I couldn't communicate with people. The waitress thought that I had like some type of like Down syndrome or something like that, because it was so my speech was so bad. And then I was trying to type, and I'm like, what am I even fooling myself? I don't even know how to type.
Wow, yeah.
So like
Wow,
you try
yeah.
you try to go you try to go back into the real world, and it's just a fucking mess. And it takes a while, and but I'm happy to say you do continue to improve. It's just like each day you show up for jiu-jitsu, you get a little bit better. Even if you had a bad day, at least you tried, and that helps you. And it's kind of the same for this.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're in the first 6 months is tough, and it's hard on the confidence, but it all comes back. Like everything is gonna come back, and even the jujitsu, like it comes back. Like it will get better. Like your jujitsu will get better once Um, I've just had to make adjustments in my game. A different type of game where it's like I use it. The best way that I can describe it is sense of urgency. So, like in the past, you might let somebody grab your gi, and there's no sense of urgency. I'm fine, no problem. You can hold that a little. No, it's boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, break it.
Yeah.
Stand up, pass the guard, knee on stomach, get to the back. Like that's that. Like, don't let anybody touch my neck. And when I'm passing or when I'm looking to sweep, there's a sense of urgency. I have to get to a better position. I can't be just relaxed and so I was rolling with my friend Josh, and he came to meet me in Arizona. He's a black belt. In June or in July or January of this year, he had his dissection, and he's a ERPA, and he said he's a black belt. Said, I always knew about dissections, but I never thought it would happen to me. And as a black belt, January of this year, it happened to him. He came out to the coaches conference with me, and he jumped on the mats at Gustavo's, and he hasn't really even been rolling much like at all this year since January, because I think he's got some reservations, and I think his wife wants nothing to do with him on the mats except for coaching right now, which I get. But
Yeah.
we peer pressured him a little bit into rolling at Gustavo's, and I remember like I could see in him, I could see his anxiety and whatnot, and I said, I'm like, Josh, I'm like, he's like. I'm like he said to the guy, I think he said, if you grab my neck, I might have to might have to tap out. He's telling, and that's what you should do. I'm
Yeah.
like, Josh, I'm like, don't even let him. And he's like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, it's like,
Yeah.
it's just you've got to, you've just gonna have to adjust that sense of urgency. It's just different for us now, and it's a choice. We know the risks now, and now we have to evaluate, the risk reward. And you know what? You
Yeah.
might not train 6 days a week. You might train 2 days a week. You might do yoga instead of a training day, and I think that's just part of the maturity process as well. Um, and that's what I've come to terms with. I take more of a coaching role now than a, active,
Yeah.
competitor role, and I'm okay with that. And it takes a while to come to terms for me. It's not taking jujitsu so seriously anymore either. And I think that's something that I think this is just for me personally, but me not taking it so seriously has made it a little bit more fun for me now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But
It's been 2 years
yeah,
since.
mine was
Uh,
August. Yeah, August of 17. So 26 months.
One choke.
Mine,
Were
yes,
you choked?
yeah. So my deal is had the dissection, huge clot. Probably don't know how long I was walking around with it, but it was a while. Looking back at my signs, I did have blurry vision, and one day I looked back and I think I did have a little bit of droop in my eye prior to it. So
Mm,
I may have been walking around with the dissection for a couple months. The clot was so big that after they gave me the TPA to bust up the clot, they had to put a stent in
uh-huh.
my neck because the doctor said it was still sitting there. When I went to go my follow up visit, he goes, "You want to see something scary?" And we're like,
Oh
"Sure."
God,
Yeah, he's like, "That's the clot."
maybe.
Yeah, he goes, "That's the clot." He goes, "That's the clot after the surgery." He's like, "We still had to put a stent in because it was so big." The um, my deal is that I didn't recognize the signs, push through practice, even though I wasn't feeling well,
Yeah.
and got put in a nice north south choke, and that blew the clot to my brain. So instantly paralyzed, instantly couldn't speak. Everything was gone. Like it was horrible. And they got me to the doctor right away, the hospital, I should say. They shot TPA, gave me the surgery, and basically told me like we'll see what happens. Like it's different for everybody. Everybody they told me they're like everybody recovery is different. But I was like
Yep.
so determined that I was going to get back to my life. I just didn't have any other option. Really, I've got two kids. I've got a jiu-jitsu gym. I've got a lot of stuff that I still want to accomplish in my life, and I wasn't ready to give that away. That's how I felt. So maybe that had something to do with my recovery. I still have residuals. Typing is still hard. Sending out
Yeah.
words. Like I said, my spelling is garbage. Thank God for spell check. But what gets really frustrating is when you're not even getting close to that word, so that spell check won't
Mhm.
correct for you, and then you just want to throw the phone. The
Yeah.
I'm very tired. I don't recover like I used to. I need more sleep than I used to. There is, a little bit of, depression, and I had it before. I will say it's worse now. But again, I use jiu-jitsu to treat that and the community to treat that. So, that kind of helps me. But yeah, and I think it's still learning. I'm still learning. Even 2 years later, like, it's people. You think you're okay, but then there's other days where it's just like everything is just not on. You know what I mean? And I think it's just fine for me. It's
Mhm.
I'm still on my journey. You know what I mean? So uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh God, you were paralyzed. You were straight up. Could not move. Couldn't
yeah,
speak.
right.
How long?
When I woke up in the hospital bed, after the surgery, they had to put something in my leg or whatever, so I wasn't allowed to move my leg
Uh,
for like I want to say like 24 hours or something like that. Um, and so, but I was moving my right side, so that was good. And then I got out of bed and I kind of the second day, kind of wobbled around, and then speaking was my grips were really weak and stuff. So like trying to like put stuff together, like it was just getting the body and the mind to work together. And now I'm fine. I have a little bit of loss of feeling in my hand. So like even when I'm like trying to grip somebody's gi and stuff, like I really have to like feel around. I don't get the same strong grips, but once it's on, it's strong because there's a lack of feeling in it too. So
yeah.
that kind of is a good thing. But then I'll drive home from practice. I'm like, oh my god, my hand is killing me. like from
Yeah.
gripping. But I the words took a little bit of time to come back, and then the first month I went to my mom's house and just slept. Like I just wanted to be away from everybody, and just wanted to sleep. And I was listening to a lot of podcasts and different things on YouTube, but just wanted to sleep and be left alone. And then I slowly started going out in public, and I started reading. And like I said, I tell people, I'm like, man, the sad thing is, it's like you have a stroke, life doesn't stop. So you still got kids that want to hang out with you, and they don't know the difference. You still got responsibilities at work, at the gym. You still got to pay the bills, and so you really don't get much time to recover. You're kind of thrown back into the shuffle right away, which is it is what it is. You have to learn to adapt, but I
Yeah.
think that's what makes the recovery kind of take a little bit longer. But what really did help me from a jiu-jitsu standpoint was getting back on the mats and coaching. Uh, Even not rolling, but just doing the coaching, doing the moves. That really
Yeah.
did, because that helped my confidence. You know what I mean? It made me feel
Yeah.
like I was. It made me feel good each time, and honestly, it helped me recover. Because if you can, like, I couldn't say words, but I'd be like, I'd have to think about it. Like, okay, so my right hand goes in the collar, and I had to like speak and think through things. So I do think that teaching jiu-jitsu had something to do with my recovery. So there was I took a job teaching the Marquette University jiu-jitsu team um,
Oh,
that year, and their semester started in September. I took this job in June, the month before my stroke. And so then I had my stroke. So I had to go teach these college kids, and I made the commitment. So I didn't want to, you know, not say, "Oh, sorry guys, I had a stroke," and I probably should have, could have, and it would have been fine. But something inside of me just told me I needed to do this. Like I felt like I made a commitment to them, and I needed to coach. So I showed up, and I look back now, and that was a huge confidence booster for me, getting back on the mats and coaching those guys, and it gave me some purpose too. And I think that's what I needed in my recovery at that time. So
yeah. That's really good to hear. Yeah. I'm definitely nervous about going back. I mean, being the only female black belt, it's a lot of eyes, and I'm like, I don't want to go out there and look like I don't know what the hell I'm doing when I do, but right now I kind of don't. It's like one of those things that's like when I got together with my friend Tara, I'm like, you want to go to the gym with me when no one else is there and all the lights are off? And she's like, yeah, dude, I'll come pick you up. I'm like, cool, to just like feel it out, and like I definitely like that's why I wish I could go to the gym and appear to be somebody
yeah,
else.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just blend
Um,
in with everybody and not be the, not necessarily a target, but yeah, a female black belt walks in the room, everybody's head's turning, and people want to roll with you, and um,
I don't
for
them yet.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you're just gonna.
yeah,
I mean, you really are just gonna have to be super selective, and I think the more that you communicate with people, and as much as as it's a pain in the ass to have to explain, um, it probably is your purpose. You know what I mean? Like it's probably your responsibility to a certain extent to go out
sure.
there and have to explain that, and you know you figure out who you're going to roll with, and make your game adjust and adapt. But I mean, it'll happen. It happens for everybody at different times. Like you're just gonna, you're already on the good path. You're already starting. Like you went to the gym a couple times. You're feeling it out. You're testing the waters, I'm pretty confident that, yeah, this is the worst battle that you've ever, defeat that you've ever had, but, it'll pass for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel you're pretty feel pretty safe about going to train and
For me personally, I don't feel safe going to train at other academies right now. I feel comfortable staying at my own. I went to Gustavo's and rolled with, those guys, but, you know, that was kind of different. Gustavo was there. He had me out to speak about the stroke, so he was able to pair me
yeah,
up with the right type of people that weren't going to try to kill me. Um,
yeah,
but other than that, like, yeah, I'm definitely weary, and I know that there's a risk every time I hop on the mat, but it is what
yeah,
it is, and um, I feel like I'm this far into jujitsu. It's like, you know what I mean? I
yeah?
don't
I
know
mean, I'm not gonna
if
stop. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous idea. Every people used to train like, I never ask you that question again, or I'll choke you out. Like, come on now, come on. I've been doing this shit for literally like half of my life.
more than half,
Stop now.
more than half.
Like, well, yeah, more than half. And like it's just it just brings too much positivity and joy to my life. Like even with this, if I can help somebody else with this experience,
Yeah,
then right, I'm a teacher by trade. It's like it's what I'm supposed to do, and I can't stop. It's like I can't stop.
right.
I can't stop. If you hear my little dog is crying, I don't know if you can hear her sitting
No.
on my lap, being a little go play, be free. A little oven on my lap, huh? It's very spoiled. The black cotton cuteness.
Yeah.
Um, so, well, God, how long before you got back on the mat?
Well, I was teaching at Marquette about a month after a month, you know.
Yeah. I don't know how I like feel teaching jiu-jitsu. I don't know if I'm gonna feel teaching other things when I go back to work. We'll
Yeah.
see. It's almost like I was joking with Tara when we got together to do jiu-jitsu in the dark. I was like, oh my God, the rust. And like, I'm so sorry if any of this rust falls off into your eyes. I feel, it's like I'm weighted down. I felt like I was weighted down and just like overloaded with invisible weights around, like trying to move. And I'm like, what the hell is it going? This kind of sucks. I'll get better, but you know.
It changes at the beginning. It does feel like that, and it 100%. It's like one of those things. That's like things that make you uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like those things that make you uncomfortable. That's the reason to keep pursuing those. You know what I mean? And you know,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, the underlying reason for all of us who do this in the same sport is like think that we like the struggle. We don't do it because it's easy.
right, right.
We do it because it hurts. Excuse me, being very rude. Loud noises make me lose my train of thought still sometimes. But yeah, I like I can't. We're a special breed of crazy. I think. You know, and I can't imagine a life without jiu-jitsu. I don't want a life without it. And I have back issues. I have it for years. So I made a decision. Last time I competed was in Dallas 2013, and then I just had like a back issue started. I'm like, all right, I've done my days of competing. I've competed against dudes a million years ago, and I was the only one. It's like I don't have anything to prove, and I want to be able to do this forever. So there's no point. It's like, the good versus the bad in any situation, and one wrong competition or tournament, and that could be bad. I got enough medals in the closet like from long ago, and it's just not what I'm looking for, I guess, anymore. So I gotta do the old age jiu-jitsu now. And just beat up on the smaller people. They're like, oh, no, I can take you. So yeah, I definitely got excited. I'd like to be back in the gym and see my people, my other family, and move a little bit. It was kind of bittersweet. So I was like, oh my god, I can do like 2 things today, because with other stuff that Charlie was teaching, there's a lot of neck pressure stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm just not ready for that yet. Not with anybody that was in that class. I'm sorry. Come here, you. You got nothing to bark about. Nothing to bark about, should say.
Oh, there you go.
A tiny little dog.
Who is that?
Her name's that's Grits, my little mini weenie dog.
Right on.
She was very spoiled, and extra spoiled since this is the longest I have not worked. So
yeah,
she gets
right.
all the time. Yeah, but I'm glad I have her because I'd get real lonely during the day. It's like, oh, what are all my friends doing? I'm going to work. I guess I'm going to craft something else. To rearrange my house for the 15th time this week. So, what can I do to further the mission?
Yeah. So I'm going to get you into the Facebook group, obviously, and then I think if you can join some of the groups, like some of the BJJ groups out there on Facebook. And then when you're in those groups, when we have articles pop up, interviews, certain just general, hey, just a FYI that this happened to me, whatever you're comfortable with, but just sending out the messages, and then just letting people be aware that this is a risk, because the worst thing is like, you don't know what you don't know. And the truth is that most of these coaches don't know. So it's really our responsibility to let them know what's going on, and let them, use their judgment as to how they're going to adjust or adapt, the way that they train and the way that they teach.
Yeah. And I was at the craft store the other day, and I saw these brain patches. I'm like, oh, I need this. I need to put this on my gi.
Oh, perfect.
It's just
Yeah. That's cool.
Because I feel like I need to have all my gis. I got 2. I actually got 3. I went to my friend Shama, who runs Girls and Gis. I can't hear you. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the survivors named Dwayne, he's getting some patches made. We had it's like a red belt because for stroke awareness, and it says stroke survivor on it. So he's gonna get those made up for us, and we're gonna throw those on the gis, and that's one way you could be like, hey, have a conversation, be like, yo, bro, see that right there? Don't choke the shit out of me. I've had some trauma in the past, so.
I think about maybe a neck tattoo. It's like, don't touch it. I think I would probably lose my day job.
Hey, it'll be effective, and you have the authority to do so. So.
Yeah. Well, definitely. Adding to the groups.
Okay.
I am not a huge social media person, but I will. I do it for the colleges, Girls and Gis, and the things that are worth doing. Otherwise, I like and puppy videos.
All right.
And and on occasion, ridiculous, awesome things my students say because they are amazing.
Awesome.
But yeah, for something like that, yeah, I'm in. Yeah,
Cool.
it's important. And education is. I mean, I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
Education is everything. Like you said, you don't know what you don't know.
Yep.
The only way to know is to help people become aware.
Yep.
For sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carolyn. I enjoyed speaking with you.
You too. It was great to meet you. I'm glad you're doing well. I really am.
Yeah, you too. It's like I said, the first couple of months, you'll be flying right back to where you want to be, and we'll all get together. We'll do some rolling. We got a big group of us now, and we'll have some events so that we can all meet in person and do some rolling. And by the way, I rolled with two other guys. Like I said, Josh and another one, both stroke survivors, and I can assure you of this: the stroke survivors don't take it easy on you.
Well, shit.
Yeah. So you're probably better off rolling with non-survivors because these guys are attacking me like a wild animal. So
yeah, they're probably pissed because their life is almost taken away from them. I have a lot of anger, man. I have a lot of anger, mostly at my former neurologist, but I still it's easier to be angry than to be sad for me. And I can harness that anger and use it for good.
Awesome.
I joke with the guys. I'm like, when I'm back, like, if you even think about touching my neck, where my fist ends up is not my fault. It is yours.
It's game time. It's game time.
It will be Vanek ghost style if that happens. so
awesome.
But yeah, definitely add me to the group.
Okay.
All right, it's like having a 2-year-old around sometimes. But add me to the group for sure. And yeah, let me know how you can get involved and help. Definitely.
Awesome.
Definitely.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Enjoy your cold day.
Thank you.
I'll enjoy my rainy day and snuggle with this little dog. And
awesome.
And then Netflix it today. It's that kind of day. So,
awesome.
Oh, one more quick question. How do you know? Because Charles Hageman put me in touch with you. Do you know Charlie?
I don't. He. I want to say somebody posted one of the interviews. He chimed in. I tried my best to monitor, and we started just communicating. He brought your story up, and he said, "I think you need to be aware of this." So.
Like Charlie, ever. He's a good dude.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, I'm glad he put us in touch. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for doing what you're doing. It's important.
Awesome.
It's really important.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, add me to those groups anytime you want to chat. If I can help in any way, let me know. And I hope we meet in person someday soon, real soon.
For sure. Awesome.
Awesome.
Take care.
Have a good day.
All right. You too.
Talk
Bye-bye.
to you soon. Bye.